Hello! In this video, we will be learning how to automate configuration from the spreadsheet into the instance. You can do this action with any workbook, including a totally blank one. However, it is far more common to run this action with a workbook that already has configuration generated within. The reason being, it's easiest to copy-paste the configuration rather than type it up from scratch. Our example today will be with Employee Central. Enter into the workspace and open up the workbook in the iteration. We're going to start by creating a new MDF object and editing an existing object. Go to the MDF object tab in the workbook. This is an example of a workbook tab without dividers. Column B is our processing status, and column C is our pending object. So in column B, when we change the status to pending, we are targeting the bot's actions to that pending object. Meaning, if that MDF object title exists in the SAP SuccessFactors instance, CodeBot will edit the configuration to exactly match the instructions of the workbook. If that object does not exist, CodeBot will create the object based on the instructions of the workbook. Navigate to the bottom of the sheet. Identify an object to copy the essential configuration from, cust_uniform. Select that row and copy-paste into the first available row in the sheet. We'll then, of course, change the title, name, and description, and be sure to set our new object called cust_training course to pending. To edit a piece of existing configuration, let's set an existing object to pending. For now, we'll just add a description to cust_uniform. We're also going to run an automation for a tab that does have dividers. It is easy to spot the difference between the two workbook formats. This solid blue vertical column in column D is a divider. Anytime you see that divider in column D, you know that this workbook tab is broken up into further subsections. Each subsection should be treated as an individual part of the workbook. By that, I mean the horizontal logic is broken up at each section. We'll start by adding the cust_training course object to the pending object column in column C and set that to pending in column B. Let's move to the next set of dividers starting in column E. Notice that the first column after the divider, the pending objects are relisted, and that peach highlight color is there to indicate that in column E. Because we are cloning cust_uniform, we can add a filter to column E, search for that object, then use Shift and the arrow keys to highlight all of the fields within that divider. Note, be sure to only select the configuration within the dividers, not the entire row. Then copy the config. Then clear the filter, Command down to go to the bottom and the first available row of the page, and paste the configuration in those first available rows, again, strictly within the dividers. Then be sure to retitle the objects in column E from cust_uniform to cust_training course. Let's repeat that process for the next set of dividers, starting with column AA. Add a filter, search for the object we are cloning. In the final set of dividers, you'll notice that there are no relevant fields for the objects we're cloning. You can leave those blank. Dividers are typically the most challenging concept to grasp in CodeBot. I'll do a highlighting exercise to demonstrate. If I'm going to make an update to any field within the object department, these cells that are being highlighted in green are where the bot will go looking for the corresponding instructions. If department exists in the instance and we have it set to pending, when we launch the bot to run, it will find every subsection that has configuration related to department within and edit or create those items in the instance. These highlights are essentially me illuminating the bot's path. The key with any automation within CodeBot is to observe the formatting of the sheet. What am I setting to pending and where do I set it to pending? If there are no dividers, typically every row is referencing the same piece of configuration. If there are dividers, look at each subsection individually and be sure to set the object to pending only in columns B and C. Now that the spreadsheet matches how we'd like the instance to look, let's run the bot. If you're using Microsoft Excel, be sure to close the Workbook tab. Google Sheet users can leave the workbook open. The workbooks automatically save the updates. Back in CodeBot, select the hamburger menu and select Start Configuration. In the execution window, enter your password or login via SSO and add an execution note. Typically, I write something to remind myself of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. Then, in the Advanced section, select the checkboxes for the sheets that you'd like the bot to take action on. In our case, we have MDF objects and MDF object fields. Notice the numbers before each checkbox. This is the order that the bot will take when executing on the task. Because the field is dependent on the object first, the bot will do checkbox 2, MDF objects, before it does checkbox 3, MDF objects fields. Then select Confirm and Start. And the eye icon will monitor the progress of the action. Click Reload to get the latest update, and typically stay on this window until you get a third line in the tracking request ID validating that the login was successful. As you reload, you'll see the notes and potentially screenshots for the objects we've edited and created. Once complete, open the workbook to see the validation highlights in green, and we can see our new objects back in the instance. Thanks for watching.